Hi, welcome back to my channel. In the past videos, I talk about how to invest in the real estate market in Germany. But today I want to get a little bit strategic and talk about exactly what are the 5 key words that you can use to find a good deal. Keyword number 1 is Dachgeschoss or Dachwohnung. This is a huge hidden secret that really helps you get the most square meters while paying only half of the price. And what I'm talking about is not always the penthouse, the top floor, but those apartments that have the ceiling that going pointy to the top. I learned this secret in one of my recent house hunting tour that I was visiting an apartment at 80 square meters with 3 rooms. However, to my surprise, the space felt really big. It turns out that when you have the slanted ceiling or the slanted rooftop, the calculation of the square meters for the apartment completely change. So here's how the calculation goes for those rooftop apartments. If you look at this slanted roof, all the space underneath 1 meters, those space don't count. And for those that's under the 1 meter to 2 meter area, those space are only counted 50% of the actual floor area. And then everything that is above 2 meter, that's calculated as usual. Interesting. But now you might ask that, well, if it's under 2 meter or the lower space, technically, if I'm a tall adult, I cannot use it. Well, a lot of people repurpose those areas as storage or the play area for kids. So they're still able to enjoy this benefit, but only paying 50% or less of the price. As we're talking about this 50% square meter topic, I would also like to bring up that this also applies for the outdoor area. Say that you have balcony, you have terrace or your garden. Those space are also calculated at only 50% of their total square meters. Tip number 2 that I use frequently in the search is to look for a property condition that needs renovation. It is no surprise that a lot of people's strategy is to buy the old apartments and put in the renovation work, so then once you finish the renovation, the price appreciate and everything is to your liking. But then the question is, well, how do I even budget for my renovation to make sure that it's worth it? What I usually do is, if I like a property after the first visit and know that I need renovation, then in my second visit, I would bring the contractor or the handyman with me to have a look live and give me a quote. There are 3 ways that I recommend you to find the qualified renovation worker, the handwerker. Number 1 is to use the webpage with qualified or registered craftsmen. For example, the handwerker net. Number 2 is to find the builders through the yellow page. For example, the Geobeseite.de. Then number 3, which to my opinion is the best one, is just through word of mouth, friends' recommendation. So here's another secret. While those apartments that needs renovation are usually sold at a cheaper price, among them there are some even cheaper deal. And the secret here is that those are the estate sales, meaning that the previous owner passed away and now it's sold by either the family members or by the government. And the seller at this point has a strong motivation to sell, to get it done. If you have a brave soul, you can look for the estate sale apartment. But for me, it was kind of scary in my previous visit. I went to this apartment, the place was really run down. The building was built in 1920s. The decoration also looked like it was from 1920s. And then there was a splash of blood on the floor. So the marketer told me that in Munich, given the market is really hot, prices are very high. So with a good deal, people will still buy it. But to my taste, it's just not what I would go for. If you ever visit an estate sale where the previous owner passed away, one trick to learn that whether it happened in the apartment or elsewhere is to look at the door. Before you enter the door, if there's a sticker, a serious sticker there, that actually represents the owner passed away inside the apartment. Tip number 3 or keywords number 3 that I use for my search is the word Kapitalanlage, which stands for investment property. What is the deal here? Usually those Kapitalanlage apartments, they are sold at a cheaper price compared with the normal apartments. And the catch here is that usually there's someone already living in there. So you buy it as a already rented apartment and you have to continue the current rent. And usually the apartment is receiving a lower rent. In Germany, it's hard to kick the tenant out. So if the tenant is enjoying the low rent right now, you might have to wait for 5 years, 10 years, or even 20 years for this tenant to finally move out. Therefore, think about it. How long do I want to invest in this place? And can I actually cover in the short term in order to get the benefit in the long term? The second quite common situation for Kapitalanlage property is that the seller is getting old and want to sell the place for a very cheap price. But the caveat is that so after you pay for this cheap price and own the property, the seller will continue to live in the apartment, sometimes even for free, until the day he or she dies. The motivation for the seller is that they want to have a lump sum cash with them, but still have the same familiarity of where they live and also stability. So for you, the dear buyer, you have to ask yourself, how long will it last? Is it the next 5 years, 10 years, or even longer? Tip number 4 or keywords number 4 that I use to search for an affordable property is the Erbpacht. So the Erbpacht is a lease, meaning that when you purchase the property, you are not really purchasing the property. You have a lease to live and use the property for a given amount of time. That can be 5 years or usually longer, 10 or 20 years. But then on the day that the lease is over, you have to leave and there's no money returned. Let's talk about the pros and cons of buying an Erbpacht. The pro side, the benefit side, is that first you're able to buy a place that's cheap. Second, and usually it's at a good location. Third is that in the short term, if you rent it out, you're also able to generate good cash flow coming in, which is very hard in an expensive city like Munich. But then now, let's also face the reality and talk about the con side. What are some downsides to it? First of all, you don't own that property. When the lease expires, you don't get anything back. Second thing is that you cannot use your Erbpacht property easily as a collateral to borrow money from the bank. Say that you want to also invest somewhere else later on. This Erbpacht property doesn't help you to get that collateral or be used as a collateral from the bank's point of view. And then last but not least, the appreciation of the home is not as significant as your regular property. In my view, for an Erbpacht to work, I see that you have to plan to already sell the place before the expiration of the lease. So then in the short term, you're able to get your cash flow coming in, but then at the end, you can still cash out. And tip number 5, or keywords number 5, is the Neubau, or the new construction. A lot of people are interested in exploring the new construction apartment because it's new and exciting. And in my view, the pro side, it is new and exciting, but also the earlier that you purchase during the pre-construction time, the larger the price appreciation that you will see by the time it's finished building. But then on the con side, be careful, because in Germany, unlike the other country, the moment you put down your down payment to buy this pre-constructed building, you are already starting to pay the mortgage to the bank. Basically, you don't yet live in the building, but you already have to pay for mortgages until the day you can move in and also until the day that you pay it off. And that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Drop me a comment and let me know was the information helpful and what else would you like to hear. I'll see you